Brethren, I pray you sing a new song. Sing praise in the assembly of the righteous. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let the high praise of God be on the mouths of the saints and a two-edged sword in their hands to execute vengeance on the demonic nations and punishments on those peoples, to bind their kings with chains. This honor have all his saints. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Sing to him a new song.
So we're going to go into the lesson real quick. Don't make it too lengthy, too long. Let's get 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Let's get
1 Corinthians 10 and 13.
Sirach 40 and 1 through 2. You got your
God, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13.
Bring it out.
It says, there had no temptation taken you, but such as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that which ye are able.
Right.
But will with temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Right. So there's a thing that's plaguing our people. The brother went over plagues, right, and diseases, pestilences, things that are plaguing us in this world. Well, we have a mental illness, right? What do you call it? Stockholm. We got slave syndrome, right? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. We got a lot of things that's plaguing us. As a people, we got depression. We got people thinking of suicidal thoughts. This scripture is going into, there is no temptation that no man has not been dealing with. Everybody's dealing with the same things, right? This is why we're supposed to, can I get Romans chapter 15, verse 4. Romans chapter 15, verse 4. So all of these things that we have been plagued with, the mental illness, the depression, the breakdowns, this stuff, every man deals with it, right? We got some children that deal with it, the depression, right? They go and they get bullied at school, right? They don't know how to deal with it. Back in the day, we were a little bit more, tougher. We had a little bit more people to talk to. I think nowadays, these kids don't really have nobody to turn to other than their phones, other than the internet, right? So, go ahead.
This is Romans 15, verse 4.
Bring it out.
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning,
Right.
that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
So things that was written before time was written for our learning. So we get the experience. We have the blessing. We have the blessing for getting able to know what our ancestors went through. We know now what our ancestors went through. We have that experience now, that they went, and we ain't got to fall in the same hole that they fell in. We don't have to fall in the same hole that they fell in. They walked it already, right, for us. So we know, okay, we already know we shouldn't eat pork. Let's put that down. The Most High God told us not to eat pork, right? It'll do this to our body, right? Keep the Sabbath day holy, right? These sins are worthy of death. This man died automatically, right off the bat. So our ancestors went and they wrote down what had happened, and it said, for whatsoever things that was written aforetime was written for our learning, that through patience and comfort of the scriptures we might have hope. So we might have hope by reading these things, right? We'll have hope. So when we get that depression, we have encouragement through the scriptures, right? Can I get that 1 Corinthians 10 again?
God, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13.
Bring it out.
There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that which ye are able.
Right.
But will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Right. So temptation is common to every man. And Most High God is faithful and just to make a way that you can escape, right, through the scriptures. He's going to help you, or have a man or a woman help correct or guide you to get the understanding of the scriptures that you so that you know, right? So it says but will with the temptation also make a way to escape. He's going to always make a way to escape, right? Let's get that Sirach chapter 40 and verse 2. And you can also, if you want to get Sirach chapter 40 and verse 1 and 2. So if you want to get Sirach chapter 2. Top.
Ready?
Yeah.
God, this is Sirach chapter 40 verse 1.
Right.
Yeah.
It says, great travail is created for every man, and a heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam.
So it said great travail, great tribulation is for every man, right? Salaki. Yeah, for every man. Go ahead.
God, from the day that they go out of their mother's womb to the day that they return to the mother of all things.
So you're bound to get into some kind of depression, some kind of stressful situation, because it's going to be there. Every man from the womb is going to go through something. So don't think that you're not going to. And when you do, go help the next man. What you know, go help the next man, right? That's love. Go ahead.
Their imagination of things to come and the day of death, trouble, their thoughts, and cause fear of heart.
Right. So imagination, things that to come. So we're thinking of things that haven't happened yet. Your imagination. I'm trying to think of that song, but there's an your imagination. Your mind can play tricks on you. That's the song. Your mind plays tricks on you, right? So that imagination that hasn't even happened yet. It can cause great fear in your heart, great terror, and it ain't even happened. You just made things up, right? So let's get. You can keep going on that.
God. It says, verse 3, from him that sitteth on a throne of glory unto him that humbleth in the earth in ashes.
So from everybody, it's happening. It's happening to the rich. It's going to happen to the poor. It's going to happen to everybody. Go ahead.
From him that weareth purple and a crown unto him that is clothed with a linen flock.
Right, go ahead.
Frock. Slack it. Wrath and envy, trouble and iniquity, fear of death and anger, strife and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night sleep, do change his knowledge.
Right, so there's times where you're going to be laying in bed, wondering and worrying, right, about what's coming to pass, right? But you shouldn't worry. Hey, worrying is sin. If it's not of faith, it's sin, right? If it's not of faith, it's sin. So it has to be of faith, or you're not supposed to worry. Right?
God, this is Romans chapter 14, verse 23.
Bring it out.
It says, he that doubteth is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
He that doubteth is damned as he eat. Right? So as soon as you doubt, as soon as you start to disagree or not with your faith in the Most High, it says you're damned as you eat. And it says, what? Read that again.
God. It says, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
So whatsoever is not of faith is sin. And we know that Most High God is pleased with faith. Right? You got somewhere on 46. Yeah, 46.
God, verse 6. A little or nothing is his rest, and afterward he is in his sleep, as in a day of keeping watch, troubled in the vision of his heart, as if he were escaped out of a battle.
Right. So, hey, these things plague our people, man. These thoughts, these worries, even in your dream. You might wake up out of thinking that you're fighting somebody, right? You're worried. Or you turn over and you might imagine your spouse cheating on you, right? And then you get mad at your spouse because you dreamt that he cheated on you or she cheated on you, right? That's something and it can cause worry. It can cause worry. It can cause doubt. It can cause fear. It can cause a lot of things. It can cause a tear between y'all's relationship because of something that you dreamt when you was laying in your bed. It didn't even happen. It was an imagination, right? So this is something, like I said, that plagues our people. Worrying, doubt, right? All this stuff plagues us as a people. What's that?
Like thoughts.
Thoughts?
Yeah, they
Oh,
thinking
God.
like you thinking of something that ain't even happened yet. Like
Yeah.
it's like, you know, they be like, what if you go to the store and you meet a pretty girl and
Right.
like you thinking of
Hey,
something
that's their
that ain't
imagination.
even, yeah, like
You know, they're imagining things that's not even real. Right.
You mad at a damn pot.
Right. Hey, can you get verse 8? Just get verse 8.
It says, when all is safe, he awakened and marveled that the fear was nothing. Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast. And that is sevenfold upon sinners.
It says, hold on. It says, when all is safe, he awakeneth and marveleth that the fear was nothing. So you in your sleep, you in your slumber, you sleep and you're imagining these vain things, and you realize that it really didn't even happen. You got those dreams that you like, I swear it was real. I swear you called that person. I swear you did that, you know? And you're imagining these vain things and it didn't happen. It was just nothing, right? It says, such things happen to all flesh. So all things. Hey, you'll see videos where a dog is running in his sleep. You know, he's being chased or he's chasing something, right? So it says both man and beast. And it says, and that is sevenfold more upon sinners. So it's 7 times more if you're sinning. If you're a sinner, if you haven't repent, it's 7 times more. Hey, that's the thing that's plaguing our people out there. That's not keeping the laws, right? And that's something that we really need to like think about and be more long-suffering to those people that we see walking by. You know what I'm saying? Be more compassionate, right?
I think it's more 7 times more too, because they most more than likely be on like drugs and alcohol
Right.
real heavily too. Right?
Good point. Good point. All right, so you got that Sirach chapter 2?
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
My son, if thou hast come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure.
So Salaki, read that first part again.
God, it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
So you gotta prepare to serve. You gotta prepare for temptation when you come to serve the Lord. When you come in to try to keep the commandments of the Most High God, you need to be prepared. And the way of preparing is being around your brothers, being around those that know the laws of God, because it's here forever, forever. It's here forever. It's never going to be done away with, right? So these things we're going to be keeping even in the kingdom. So read that one more time. You did too, right?
Yeah, I did read this. All right, Khan. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Right.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure,
So,
and make not haste in the time of trouble.
It says, and set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Never give up. Don't quit. I know one of the things that I did when I first came into the truth, I was like, man, I can't stop sinning. I can't stop not keeping the Sabbath. I can't stop eating this bacon, right? It was always something. And I wanted to give up. I wanted to just quit. But, you know, I had to tell myself to not quit. Don't give up. This is what I want. Don't quit, right? So you got to constantly endure, right? Set your heart aright. And how do you do that? The laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how do you set your heart aright? By doing the will of the Father, right? And that's another way how you do it. Let's get that Romans 15 and 4 again. What's the song? Let's go straight to it. That's 12. Yep, start at 1. You got that, go ahead.
This is Romans 15, verse 4.
Bring it out!
For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So this is what Romans 15 and 4, wherever things were written before time was written for our learning. So we learn from the things that was written, the good and the bad, right? Go ahead.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Because the word gives us comfort. So when you're going through a stressful time, when you have a hard time, the word gives you comfort. That, hey, this is how this person overcame it, right? This is how this person endured it, right? And we know Paul endured a lot. We know Job endured a lot, right? Let's get this Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1.
Khan, this the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 12.
Bring it out.
Seek not death in the era of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands.
Seek not upon. Let me get this.
It says, seek not death in the era of your life.
So don't seek destruction. Don't seek death. Don't seek to harm yourself when you do error, when you do something wrong, right? Don't seek death. It says, don't seek death in the era of your life, and pull not upon yourself destruction with your works, with the works of your hand, right? So don't go to harm yourself, right?
Khan, I want to piggyback on this because I don't know if everybody is aware, right? These scriptures that we pulling out, it kind of targets depression. It kind of targets, how people handle themselves after they exposed to certain things. And the law kind of deals with those things too, right? So I'm going to grab a law in Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 28. Leviticus 19 and 28. It says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. And one thing that our people kind of did, that's why he had to make a law on it, is that you don't go and cut yourself when a family member dies.
Right.
You don't cut yourself at all, right? Unless you're spiritually cutting yourself, right? But you don't go and cut yourself because your brother died. You're not supposed to do that. And that's something that you see our people do. They'll be depressed, and the way that they try and get over depression is by cutting themselves, right?
And
hanging themselves, you know? And
they mainly learned a lot of that from the other nations, right? That movie, Salaki, what is it called again? The 13 Reasons?
Yeah.
That movie, people cutting themselves started happening more at a rapid rate. People started cutting themselves as soon as that
show came out.
As soon as that movie came out, that show, right? So they saw and they imitated it, right? So that's something you don't want to do. You don't want to add harm to yourself.
You want me to read this again?
No, you got more on it. Let's go to 13. What you got? Yeah, 13.
Okay, kind. All right, so Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 13, it says, for God made not death, neither have he pleasure in the destruction of the living.
So he don't have pleasure in the destruction of the living. So there's no pleasure when you, as an Israelite and Israelite woman, Israelite man and woman, when you seek out to destroy or hurt yourself, there's no, Most High don't have pleasure in that. You don't have pleasure in that, right? Keep reading.
Verse 14 says, for he created all things that they might have their being, and the generations of the world were healthful, and there is no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth.
Keep going.
For righteousness is immortal.
Righteousness is immortal. And we know what righteousness is, right?
Yeah.
So we know what righteousness is, right? It says, for righteousness is immortal. What is immortal?
Everlasting.
Everlasting, right? It's something that can't be done away with, right? Righteousness is immortal. Go ahead.
God, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and 25.
Bring it out.
It says, and it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God as he hath commanded us.
Right. So through patience and comfort of the scriptures, we might have hope. It was written aforetime. This was written at the beginning of the Bible, right? In Deuteronomy. It said our righteousness is to keep the commandments of God. It's to do the commandments of God. This was written aforetime. This was written a long time ago. So our righteousness, it says, for righteousness is immortal. What is righteousness? Keeping the laws, right? So we got to constantly endure this. We got to keep doing it. Always fight. Don't let nobody or nothing turn you away from it. You'll give your strength over to that person or that thing, right? And the Bible commands us or tells us that we're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to give our strength over to nobody. Friend, woman, it don't matter. Children, I'm doing this holiday for my kids, right? Or people will say, you don't do that for your kids. Your kids are supposed to bend for you. They're supposed to bend to you, right? So, do you have something? Let's get verse 16.
All right. Wisdom of Solomon 1:16. God, this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 16. But ungodly men with their works and words called it to them, for when they thought to have it to their friend, they consumed to naught and made a covenant with it because they are worthy to take part with it.
Right, so they made a covenant with the death. They made a covenant with death, right? Because they were wicked and they chose not to change their ways. Let's get Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 16. So they chose not to change their ways. They chose not to. So they're going to be consistent in doing wicked and having, it says, a sevenfold much more unto those that sin. So those that sin are going to reap these things even more, sevenfold more. You're going to reap these things, right? This plague, this depression, this illness when you buck up against the laws of the Most High God. Go ahead.
Khan, this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 15 and verse 16.
Bring it out.
For man made them, and he that borrowed his own spirit fashioned them. But no man can make a God like unto himself. Saki, you want me to stop there?
Go ahead. That's the first one.
Saki, I don't know.
Well, it's basically going into your spirit is not even your own. The spirit belongs to the Most High God. Your spirit is borrowed. So don't harm that. And the way of harming that is going against the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? When you go against it, you have harmed it. Your spirit is borrowed. He made it. The Most High God created it. He made it. He created it. It's borrowed. You borrowed it. Right? So don't add harm to it. Don't physically add harm to it. Right? Don't go against the scriptures. Did you have something? Okay. What else? You got something? You got it?
What you just said.
Go ahead.
Is that a jacket in there? My truck? I don't know if it's more like that.
This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 36.
Bring it out.
But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
It says, but he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul.
Right. He that sins against the Most High wrongs his own soul. So like I said, that goes against the soul that is borrowed to you. You've caused harm to that soul. To you. You've caused harm to yourself by going against the Most High God. So that's a beautiful precept that he brought out. Read that again, Baba Kushai.
It says, but he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death.
Right. All they that hate me love death. Right? And we know what life is. Life is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. What is that? Baruch 4:1. Right? So,
You want me to grab it?
Khan.
Khan.
I'm trying to figure out. So let's go back up here.
Khan, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
It says, this is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endure forever. All they that shall keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
So that's a perfect precept for what he just brought out. So all they that keep the laws and commandments shall come to life. Shall come to life, shall be alive. All they that leave it shall die. As simple as that. Right? All right.
God, this is Proverbs chapter 16, verse 24.
Bring it out. 5.
Proverbs 16, 24.
Bring it out.
Proverbs 16, 24.
Bring it out.
Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. All right, come. It says, verse 25, there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
And you know what that is leaning onto your own understanding. When you lean onto your own understanding, you think that's the right way to go. When the Bible's clearly laid out for you. The things that was written aforetime was written for our learning, right? So we're not supposed to go off of the scriptures, or away from the scriptures, right?
Hey, grab the speaker. Nope. Give the spirit.
I'm bringing up production scriptures. I'm bringing up production scriptures.
Yeah, if I do.
Let's get Go ahead. That's good. You got something? Yes. Let's go to Mark 4, 21, and Isaiah 29 and 15. Isaiah 29 and 15. Mark 4 and 21.
God. This is the book of Mark, chapter 4, and verse 21.
Bring it out.
It reads, and he said to them, is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed and not to be set on a candlestick?
Right, so your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, like I told the brother earlier, is not to be just hidden. You're not supposed to hide that. You're not supposed to keep that light. You're not supposed to just hide it to yourself. You're supposed to put it out openly so where other men can see it or hear it, right? So you're supposed to display your wisdom, right? You're supposed to show it, bring forth, illuminate it, right? Go ahead.
God. Verse 22, for there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And he said unto them, take heed what ye hear, with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you.
Right. And so the point is that when you have that wisdom, that knowledge, and you hide it, it's not going to be illuminated. It's not going to be manifested. It's not going to be known. And that's what you want to do. You want it to be made known to your loved ones, right? And my loved ones is those that keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Yeah. So when you keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, it's going to be hidden, right? It's not going to be manifest. It's not going to be made known. So people are going to be walking around in darkness all over again, right? You got that.
Like, we be having the wisdom and we deal with people of the world and we dumb ourselves down to stay at their level when really we should be pulling them up to our level.
Right.
So instead of, like you said, letting it be hid, we got to let it manifest.
Right.
You can't just stay down there because the people that you know don't have the wisdom you have. You got to make them up their game or something.
It's true. Right.
Or get left behind.
29:15.
Gone. I'll grab it at the
But they call it dumb us down.
Let's go.
All right, Con, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 15.
Yeah.
It says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord. It says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, who knoweth us?
Right. So it said, woe to them that seek deep and hide their counsel from the Lord, right? So if you're seeking out things that are too hard for you, and it says, and you hide your counsel from the Lord, it says destruction to you. Woe and destruction unto you, right? Can you read more on it? I'll read that.
God, verse 16 says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding?
Right. So the point of this is that leaning not unto your own understanding. The Most High God created you. He made you. He know what your ins and out is. He know what your in is before he even created you. So don't lean onto your own understanding. Think that you got more knowledge than the Most High, or you know more than this Bible, because you don't. At the end of the day, you don't. So don't lean onto your own understanding. Go and keep the law, statutes, and commandments.